Welcome to the Go Unpro podcast, a doctor's 52-week journey to an unprocessed life. Now, here is your host Dr. Brent W. Laartz, Associate Professor of Infectious Diseases and Internal Medicine, neuroscientist, and best-selling author.
All right, everyone, welcome to a week 13 of a doctor's 52-week journey to an unprocessed life. This is moving edition. We had already the travel edition earlier. We had the packing edition where we were packing up our old location, and this new location, this new house that I just bought, fantastic, a whole brand new start to my unprocessed life, really getting things situated here. We are setting up our podcast studio here, relatively small, but and you'll see it take shape. You can see boxes in the background here. You can see the book still sitting on the shelf there. We're going to put some shelves in here that are even better. My little coconut here with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers logo there. Amazing situation we're going to have here. It really makes a reset. Things you can throw out, the plastic things I can throw out, the different things we now need to get for a new house and a new kitchen. And we'll show you that in a second. During this edition, week 13, we're going to have a little field trip to the kitchen. I'm not going to have any other field trips this week, but we're going to do a little field trip right outside to the kitchen. We are renewing these areas to decrease our plastic, increasing our ability to do some home fitness. Also, we're going to have a little gym that I'll show you guys a little later, increasing our ability to grow food also out. Now I have a yard. I'm not sure if I mentioned before about the location that I was in before, but I was in a relatively small condo, and though it did have a nice gym there, and it had a nice situation to get out right out the front door to the street and get to my running route. This is a little bit more of a neighborhood feel, getting down along the river to the area along the riverfront of Tampa. So I'm really excited about this. And really this provides me with a really good reset to this, to even go even further. Again, this is week 13. I'm 1/4 of the way through the year, 1/4 of the way. And this is not a situation of increasing our exercise and better improving our diet, improving our sleep, and improving our connection right away. We can't get rid of all of our plastic. We can't get and nobody can get a full cardiovascular VO2 max to the max and their resistance training to the max right away. You have to set yourself with smaller goals, okay? The psychology of it is the affirmation of living a longer, healthier life is needing to have that goal and realizing what is your purpose and setting those goals in a slow but steady progress. Finding those who support you also. I have a great girlfriend who's supporting me in this situation, and then finding community in it, okay? So you have to have a purpose in your life. And I do. I already have that purpose of being a physician and educating everybody that I know about what is best for my longevity. And again, it's N equals 1. Not everything that is good for me is good for everybody. Not everything I do is the best for everybody else either. So finding that purpose in your occupation, finding that purpose for your family, finding that purpose for your longevity, and knowing how important it is. And then what is the importance of that for your family and for your connection and for your longevity and for your financial well-being. If you figure that you can work X a number of years more, if you are healthier, it can make you more money and give you more money for retirement, save more money, etc. So all of this can be part of the purpose of living longer, a longer, healthier life, and doing these things now that will matter 10, 20, 40, 50 years down the line. Again, we stress on this podcast and this education about the microbiome, every element of my life, from my GI system to my heart, my brain, to my lungs, to my hormone health. Everything about that centers around the communication that the gut has with the brain and other organs through cortisol, through the vagal nerve, through the system of GLP-1 and GIP. These peptides that everybody talks about, you can influence these peptides with your own diet, okay? And you can also influence these your cortisol, and you can influence your we talked last week and 2 weeks ago in our Sunday Science podcast about the ability for your microbiome to affect your um, ability to perform in endurance type training. And so this is something that can happen on a small scale, but it can happen on a maximum scale also. So if you are one of these people who are training for a triathlon, etc., go back to that Sunday Science and show where we exhibited some studies that show that you can increase potentially by 50% the endurance of a triathlete. So this is not like going from a a couch potato to a triathlete and showing that endurance is increased from a couch potato. This is an already trained, already an ultimate VO2 max person who can now run farther on a treadmill than he could before. And obviously this could impact persons who are couch potatoes to be able to do better with their endurance also. So again, 100% of my diet recommendations to myself are based on some of these microbiome issues. Okay, so this week, week 13, we've already pretty much eliminated red meat, beef, and pork from our diet, but pork is still there for me occasionally with breakfast if I need a breakfast. So we're going to completely eliminate beef and pork from my diet. Okay, it's chicken and seafood, poultry and seafood are going to be the max. Now, with that said, I still will eat cheese at this point. I am increasing the beans. From last week, we talked about beans in my diet, increasing the beans. And I have a system now set up where every Sunday I'm going to be pre-making and meal prepping the beans, some hummus, perhaps some sourdough crackers for this, and other fermented foods that we talked about. And we showed our fermented foods that we are doing with some cabbage and or my version of kimchi, and we have some lemons we're doing as well. Okay, so movement this week, not a whole lot of change to my movement other than the routes I'm taking for my running, increasing to 7 days per week, a walk on day 7, my recovery day, plus resistance training. So we're going to like 8 days per week, and twice a week we're going to be doing resistance training and cardiovascular. Okay. And getting a variety is important. And here's the real change for this week is the either forest bathing, getting into nature, hiking, trail running, doing a bit more of that. I have a group that goes trail running on Saturday mornings early. I'd like to do that a little bit later. So I'm trying to get with them occasionally, but taking friends, getting out into the forest, getting out to somewhere in nature. Not everybody lives that close to nature, and where I was in this condo near downtown, there were parks in the area, so I could get at least a little bit of that. And that is nowhere near what is required for what is technically forest bathing, because forest bathing requires you to get into a forest, getting into a park where you can't really see that much technology, that much of civilization. And forest bathing has a lot of evidence for decreasing cortisol. And I want to get into a little bit more of that this week. Later in the week, we're going to be doing that. And okay, so sleep this week. I was really excited to get into this new house because I had a street light right outside my house in the condo that I was living before, and um, even with the blinds fully closed, there it just really let so much light in. I felt like it was affecting my sleep. I would wake up in the middle of the night a little bit and so my Aura ring data I think showed a little bit of that. I was not getting enough deep sleep, and so. We're going to try to increase our amount of sleep. I just ordered some blackout curtains. I thought it was going to be great in this new house, but there is a neighbor in the backyard who has a floodlight who that is still on at 10, 11 o'clock at night. Man, who knows how late it is after I go to sleep that he gets this floodlight turned off. So I'm ordering some blackout curtains for, I have a large window and a walkout glass full length uh, door, glass door in my bedroom. And that is perfect for letting in the morning light, right? But getting some blackout curtains. Better, but not 100% in this new house right now. So we're going to get this blackout curtain, an automatic curtain, also motorized. Certainly, that's not something everybody has to get. That's a luxury. But again, we're going in search of, in search of. And that's where this Aura Ring is helpful, and I can track my sleep, the amount of sleep I get, improving on that, sleeping in a little more on the weekends. This is why I'm not going to do the 6:30 a.m. Trail running. I'm going to try to get out at 8 a.m. After sleeping in a little bit because I get up early in the morning when I'm working. So I need to restore that sleep on the weekends. So again, really increasing the meditation and affirmations in the evenings and the mornings. 1 hour of no electronics. That includes TV before bed, perhaps some reading, and that meditation for a period of time before sleep. Getting really down into that. We're still continuing trying to improve upon the uh, entrainment also, and I think that we're going to work on that in the next few weeks as well. So that creativity and connection, working on decreasing screen time, and certainly with someone like myself who is a podcaster and works with electronics all day long for and needing screen for communicating with the office, communicating with nurses, and needing um, Instagram and Facebook for communication of some of this stuff. That is something that we're going to work on, decreasing the screen time, having at least once a week a tech-free board night with the family. Here's what I started to do. Writing and exercise this week is writing down the 10 things I enjoy without tech and with friends or art. Okay, so and some of those things. This week, I want to just accomplish one of these things. I started with, running, and when I run, and I hope that some of you can relate to this, that running with headphones really doesn't give me the peace of mind of running. I don't want to hear music, and certainly music can be motivating. So sometimes it is worthwhile, and it's worthwhile in the gym potentially. But with running and with sailing, my kids and getting out hiking, we just talked about, and getting out into the forest. Also that connection with art, perhaps, if you're going to one of these locations that has painting with a twist, or the ceramics that you can do, some things you can do without, and we're going to try to accomplish at least one of those things, and getting that connection with family, but without tech. Okay. Then we are all about continuing that connection via phone. Reach out to someone you haven't heard from in a while. Reach out, continue that connection. Okay. So that's what I want to do this week. Okay, so plastics, we're going to take a little bit of a field trip and we're going to come back afterwards. We're going to be talking about this stainless steel cutting board that I have worked on obtaining, and it is great for meats, and we'll go to the kitchen here. And everything that we're doing here, support for the above, amazing. Everything we can do to get to a plastic-free, unprocessed life. Okay, so all right, so we'll see you here in a few minutes. All right, field trip to the new kitchen. Can't wait for you guys to see what happens here the rest of the year. Just wanted to introduce a couple of things. We talked about some of the cutting boards you can get, and before we had the wooden ones, you can see them there that we have. All wooden now. We just threw away our last remaining plastic cutting board this morning, and we have two new stainless steel ones. This is perfect for meats because you can easily clean them in the dishwasher, and then you have your other one. We have this really cool one from the Wood Lab. Nice variegated look, and then another bigger one for bigger meals. Again, this is not an immediate replacement of all plastic from the kitchen. You can see we still have some right here. We still have some of these. These are going to be replaced in a very soon episode within the next few weeks. We don't have, we probably have about a 60% replacement of our plastics in this kitchen, and we have our fantastic chef Emma in the shot here with us. We're cooking some lasagna tonight, and some bread, some sourdough is her specialty. So great. We'll see you back in the podcast studio for the rest of the situation here for week 13. Thank you. All right, so thank you for taking that field trip with me to the kitchen to see our stainless steel cutting board, see the new kitchen we have. Amazing about what things can happen there, and I have my girlfriend who's a great cook, and so a lot of great things are going to happen in that kitchen. We're working on it. As I said, we're probably about 60% plastic free, and we're getting there. Okay, so. All right, so that is week 13. Let's recap a little bit. And this time, instead of recapping every single little thing, we're going to go through just a tiny summary of what we're doing, okay? So, in the diet situation, and for longevity and for health, here's the things that I'm doing in a 10,000 foot, 30,000 foot level here, okay? So we're calorie restricted. We're gearing toward no alcohol, but at very low alcohol, low sugar, unprocessed, and less packaging, mostly plant-based. We're trying to get to 60 to 70, maybe even 90% plant-based. We're getting toward fermented foods, probiotics, prebiotics, high fiber, antioxidants, everything that is purple, orange, red, in our food, in our diet, trying to get to a great variety. I have that 40 veggies goal, and then water for my diet, for my liquids, right? So, and again, in a stainless steel cup, here's my water. And if I have to have some processed foods, I try to get toward something that is a little healthier, a little less sugar, again, a little bit processed, and is in an aluminum can, but as much decrease in sugar as I can. Okay, so movement. Here's where the 4 pillars of movement, and we talked about the 5 pillars of longevity of being diet, movement, sleep, connection, creativity, and purpose, and then the plastics, getting rid of plastics. Okay, so Here in movement, there are 4 pillars to movement: cardiovascular training, resistance training, balance, and stretch and flexibility. And then we've tried to increase our cardiovascular exercise, our resistance training, which is oh so important, but also some different activities that improve balance, and also the stretching and flexibility that we have always done, but really we're paying attention to it a little better. Okay, so sleep, that 3rd pillar, increasing the early light exposure. If you are getting to work before the sun rises, try to get outside during that, just for 10, 20 minutes during that early light period. If you are really waking up way before dawn and you want to get some exposure to light, there are some types of devices you can use to get that early light. Late dark, perhaps red lights instead of blue lights at night. Try to avoid those LED lights that are like the cool lights or daylights, getting toward the warm lights, and then also the red lights. Decreasing caffeine in the afternoon. I basically don't have any caffeine at all. And all right, so, and then exercise, extremely important. That movement actually helps your sleep. Okay, every portion of these 5 pillars improves your sleep. Your diet, decreasing the amount of food you eat after 8 o'clock at night, and getting to that, and decreasing alcohol use. If you've ever had an Oura ring or some tracking of sleep, you can tell if you've had 2 drinks, it's going to affect your sleep. Even 1 drink. Okay, we are using, and we're going to try to use a little bit more of entrainment to try to increase the deep sleep that I get into, and then meditation and affirmation before bed, also to try to decrease the amount of stress that you go into your sleep with, okay, and try to decrease that heart rate. You want to decrease your heart rate and decrease your temperature right around bedtime, so that's coming down. We've also used for sleep also some warm water therapy, hot water therapy, heat therapy. And I don't do cold plunges, but some people do that in the morning. All right, so creativity and connection and purpose, we already talked about that a little bit, but certainly writing down my mission statement was the most important thing I could do to try to then live up to that mission statement. And then also creating a vision board, creating everything physically that you can to get that purpose and connection and creativity. Increasing connection to those I want to become closer to, aligning my goals and behaviors, aligning those I am associated with to my behavior that I want to have, and those who support my mission, diet, exercise, and plastics, all the more important. Those who say, "Oh, you don't need to do that." Well, sometimes that is someone that I want to avoid. Okay, so art, writing, poetry, singing, reading, music, painting, all part of the creativity. Pets, very important. Pets can be very important for all manner of things, from exercise, needing to take them for a walk, family and friends, those people who are important to you. Okay, and then the plastics. We're getting rid of plastics in the kitchen, our clothes, basically anything I touch. Okay, bathroom, hygiene, soaps, detergents, dishes, everything. So we're getting rid of these things again. So, all right, so that's a little 30,000 foot overview of what we've done so far in 1/4 of the year. Really, I think I've really accomplished an amazing amount in such little time. And I feel like that I can really get to 99%, given another what I have 39 more weeks. That's the other 3/4 of the year. Amazing what we can do. Okay, so again, follow with me on all of my social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We've got Threads, and then follow the podcast and also some social media on Substack. Our podcast is on goonpro.com. It is on Substack. It is on anywhere where you can get your video podcasting, from YouTube to YouTube Music and Spotify has now video, and so does Apple. So Apple Podcasts, check it out. And then also anywhere where you get audio podcasts, you can get to. Certainly, I apologize to those who are listening on audio as I show you some of these things that we have, such as in the kitchen where I showed my cutting boards that we just received. And let me know if I can do anything better to show these things to you via audio to describe them. Okay, so thank you very much for attending week 13, and I'll see you soon. Thank you very much.
This site and any information communicated within it are not intended as medical advice. The information herein is not intended as medical care, diagnosis, or treatment of any medical condition. No component of this content, including discussion or comments, shall be construed or implied as establishing a doctor-patient relationship. Before you translate or copy any of the information, diet, exercise, or products utilized herein or on any social media post to your own practice, consult your own research, physician, therapist, or nutritionist for your own health. No warranties or claims are made as to the benefits or risks of any treatments, diet, exercise, or products herein. Research any treatments, diet, exercise, or products thoroughly before trying for yourself. Referral, affiliate, or advertising fees may be garnered by this site.